So there's a viral clip going around this week where a guy asks people if children can consent to getting a tattoo, and they obviously say no. And then he asks if children can consent to puberty blockers. Now, this viral clip is from the boys over at Man vs. Street. I decided to grab the full video and bring it up. We're going to be unpacking a handful of scenes from it today. But before we do, you guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you all for being here. If you could please really quickly hit that like button for the algorithm, I would greatly appreciate it. And then lastly, this video is sponsored by my good friends over at Ruthless Americans. Huge shout out to them. We'll talk about them a little bit more in a bit. So you guys, the video is called Should Children Consent to Puberty Blockers? As always, link to the full video will be down in the description below. Go support Man vs. Street. They do a fantastic job. Let's go ahead and jump on in.
Do you think a 12-year-old should be able to get a tattoo?
I'm going to say no.
Probably not.
No.
It's probably too young to make decisions.
It's a pretty permanent decision.
They can't make the decision for themselves yet. It's something permanent on their body.
Do you think a 12-year-old should be able to consent to puberty blockers?
Yes,
Yes.
and I understand how that sounds really hypocritical.
Yes, it's a permanent change on their body, but I think that at that point in their life, they probably know who they are, who they want to be.
And you think so at 12 years old?
Yes.
At that point, you guys, in their life, I mean, they're 12. They don't know that. Not at all. They can't even choose what they're watching on TV at night, or they're not even choosing what's for dinner. But they can go ahead and make these lifelong medical decisions, turn themselves into a lifelong pharmaceutical patient at the age of 12 because they know what is best for them. Wild start. Let's keep going.
Do you think a 12-year-old should be able to consent to puberty blockers?
Yes, because that's not a permanent decision.
That's a life-changing decision. I don't think that any 12-year-old is in a position to make a decision that's going to affect them long term.
He's obviously right, and she's obviously wrong. There are long-term effects to puberty blockers. They're called puberty blockers. They block puberty. There are negative side effects to blocking puberty. You can sterilize children using this. Some people say, like this girl right here, she says,
Yes, because that's not a permanent decision.
it's not a permanent decision, she said. Sterilizing yourself is a permanent decision. Skipping puberty is a permanent decision. If you take puberty blockers for, I don't know, a week, does it do that much to you that's going to be irreversible? Well, you skip a week of development, but you can probably survive from that. I almost feel like it's kind of like saying, well, you know, you do some hard drugs and it's not going to cause any major long-term effects. And it's like, why are you saying that? Because a lot of these people have destroyed their lives, and if you do it for 6 months to a year, yes, it's going to absolutely hurt your body. Similar with puberty blockers in a way. Yeah, sure, you do it for a couple days, sure, you can survive that. How many are taking them and stopping? Well, it's just so happens to be the case that over 95% stay on puberty blockers, because the goal of being on puberty blockers is to take cross-sex hormones.
When you get puberty blockers, for a lot of kids, that's like life-saving. It's keeping them from having to go through a puberty. I think puberty blockers are a great sort of like middle ground to allow a child to better understand themselves without having to make decisions like surgery or doing nothing and having to live through a puberty that is not within, that they don't identify with.
They have to live through a puberty that they don't identify with. In the beginning, she says it can be life-saving for children. It's life-saving. You could see how it could potentially be a good argument if it were true. Because they conveniently have this argument of, well, if kids don't take it, and if you don't let them go down this path of skipping puberty, which, by the way, you can't like get this puberty back, right? So if you don't support their decision to skip puberty, they're gonna kill themselves. What a convenient argument. And also, what an evil argument, because there's no basis for it at all. All right, you guys, let's take a few moments to talk about today's sponsor, Ruthless Americans. Ruthless Americans is a blue-collar clothing brand designed for the hardworking American that isn't afraid to show their love of our country. That's pretty refreshing, isn't it? Their clothing is incredibly comfortable and durable. I'm wearing their 1776 line right now, but I want to show you guys some of their other collections. This one's one of my favorites, their American Pride line. Obviously, all of these are made in America. This is their brand new Just Pray collection. I know a lot of you guys are picking these ones up. And this is their Save Our Children collection. 10% of sales from their Save Our Children collection is donated to their partners over at Operation Underground Railroad to fight child trafficking. These are just a few of the designs available at Ruthless Americans. Each one of these collections includes hats, hoodies, tank tops, long and short sleeve tees, and more. Ruthless Americans is a small patriotic business that's located in Southern California. You guys have spoken with the owner multiple times. He's a great guy that loves our country. This is a business I'm really proud to support. Go support them by picking up a few shirts, maybe a couple hoodies. We do have winter coming up, so make sure you're jumping on those hoodies. I promise you guys, you'll love them. Visit ruthlessamericans.com or hit that link down in the description below and use offer code KLUG15 for 15% off your order. Again, that is ruthlessamericans.com, offer code KLUG15. Take advantage of this deal, you guys. Let's jump back into the video.
There's plenty of time to make those decisions later on once they've had a chance to decide exactly what they want their identity to be.
I think that maybe there should be more waiting, but I don't want to put down trans ideas, so.
I don't want to put down trans ideas. I mean, it should be a good idea for them not to sterilize themselves because that's what happens when you skip puberty. It should be a good idea, you know, to not allow 12-year-olds to make that decision because that's insane. But hey, I don't know though, because I don't want the mob to cancel me. That's essentially what she just said right there. We need more young women sticking up for children and sticking up for what's right and sticking up for fighting insanity.
Should be able to consent to puberty blockers.
If they can make an informed decision, yeah.
And you think a 12-year-old can make an informed decision?
I don't know, I guess it depends on the 12-year-old.
Be like a really mature 12-year-old.
Right, yeah.
Because some children you can just tell when that decision is legit with them, but like a 12-year-old child, I think that would be a little difficult.
You hear that a lot when it comes to talking to people on the street. I hear this all the time. Talking with Billboard Chris on the street is, well, it depends on the 12-year-old. Do you say that for other things? Oh, well, I don't know. Maybe kids can get away with drinking alcohol. It depends on the 12-year-old, really how mature they are. You know what I mean? Can they operate heavy machinery? Well, it depends on the 12-year-old. When people talk about this topic, they say this stuff in a way that it's like they want to be fair, but they kind of forget what they're saying because they're saying, oh, well, I want to be inclusive and I don't want to be bigoted and I'm not transphobic, you know? So where they wouldn't say the stuff for anything else, drinking alcohol, operating heavy machinery or anything like that, they will potentially kind of border on it for a child sterilizing themselves. It's always something, you run into it all the time. It depends on the 12-year-old. Not really. They're 12. They can wait till they're 18 to make permanent changes to their body. That's not that controversial.
At 12 years old, you have a sense of your gender identity, of your sex identity. So I don't see why. I mean, we know there's kids that young killing themselves because they have so much gender dysphoria that they're having to deal with the struggles of being trans.
Again, another lie. This is not true. There's no evidence to point to this. There's no clinics that can really point to this. It's simply an argument to... They literally just made it up and said, yep, we're going to stick with that argument because it sounds good. There is evidence to suggest 7 to 10 years after medically transitioning, there is a spike in some studies showing suicide rates increasing. However, what she's talking about here, no, there's no evidence to suggest that kids are killing themselves because they're going through puberty, something natural. That's not a thing. In fact, gender dysphoria, the overwhelming majority of the time, gender dysphoria desists after puberty. A lot of young gay men have gender dysphoria when they're younger. It's fairly common, at least. When people say this, you pretty much just need to ask them what's their basis for saying it, because there is no basis for saying it. They're just making it up. And if they know that they're making it up and they know that they have no basis for saying it, that's really, really a nasty, nasty, disgusting, evil argument to make. Because you're scaring the living hell out of parents, and this is why a lot of parents actually end up going through with this stuff because they believe this lie.
But I do think that a 12-year-old should have that choice.
What do you have to say to those people that let their children consent to puberty blockers at like 10, 11, 12 years old?
I would say that I disagree with you. and I think you're an irresponsible parent.
My man. He's my favorite part of the video. Just a little bit of sanity that we can get. I mean, fantastic work. We need more women standing up for children. Where are they? I will say a lot of these people, I mean, this girl right here, she seems uncomfortable. I think a lot of these people, for fear of being canceled, they'll just go along with it. They'll try to just go along with it. I know that, I know that they know they don't know what they're talking about, but they hear their classmates saying stuff and they don't want to come out and say, no, children can't consent, even though that should be the easiest position to possibly take. But there's a lot of pressure on college campuses nowadays. There is a lot of pressure from the woke mobs that even kids that mean well, even kids that are intelligent, they will bend a knee to that pressure because they don't have a ton of systemic support. They don't have professors that have their back. They don't have big student groups. It's not socially acceptable to hold that position. And you have kids that are just trying to fit in and go to their classrooms and not be a hero. Some of them just end up bending a knee. People need to start speaking out because this stuff is just getting way too out of control. You guys, we're going to wrap this up with one. I don't know if it's funny. I don't know if it's sad. I don't know if it's horrifying. But I did want to include this last part just to show you how insane things are getting. Man versus Street, they went out. Free sex changes for children. I just want to show you guys this one exchange.
Free sex changes for kids. So we send you all to Tijuana. They'll dice it up. Bring them back. The border's open, so you can just walk right through. And for an extra fee, we'll send you straight to San Francisco.
Straight to...
No, this is an NGO. Yeah, the Biden administration pays for this. That's so cool.
Like in a good way.
Yeah, it is cool.
Wait, I don't get
It's awesome. Can I offer you guys in a sex change?
I am blown away by that. Young women, what are you doing? What are you doing? That is so cool. He's like obviously trolling. Oh yeah, extra fee. We'll send you to San Francisco. Borders wide open. It's just, look at this sign. Sex changes for kids. I think it says totally reversible on the sign. Unbelievable. But the point of this is just to show how far radical gender theory and the trans activists have gone. To where sky's the limit. Sex changes for kids, ship them out to Mexico. I absolutely support that. Are you serious? I guarantee they didn't have to work too hard to find people that agree with that sign. I guarantee it. Anyways, you guys, let me know what you thought about this video down in the comment section below. Let me know what you thought about my commentary down in the comment section below. If you guys enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe for more videos and hit that bell notification button so you're notified next to my post. And I'll catch you all in the next video.